Blood. Between Dreams. Part 3. The Buried Word. Expanded Edition. Rain fell like ash. Cold, silent. A steady descent from a sky the color of bruises, blanketing the world in a mournful gray. Each droplet struck Anasa's face like pinpricks of memory. Sharp, insistent, unsettling. Fog licked at her ankles as she followed Match through the narrow, overgrown trail behind her apartment. This wasn't the forest she knew. This wasn't even the world she knew. It was something older, hungrier. The trees here stood too still, their bark peeled like flesh in places, blackened from ancient burns, yet moist with something that resembled sap and smelled of iron. Branches didn't sway. They reached. Roots rose like twisted fingers, coiled around exposed stone and the bones of forgotten creatures. Something unseen stirred beyond the mist, just out of sight, but never out of mind. The air tasted like rust and rotted prayers. Match's grip on her hand was tight, almost painfully so. He didn't speak. He hadn't said a word since the message, since the hollow, since the kiss. But she felt his fear. It vibrated beneath his skin like a second heartbeat. He wasn't afraid of this place. He was afraid of what followed them. Not people. Them. The hiding place wasn't marked on any map. It wasn't on any plane of ordinary existence. Beneath a collapsed chapel long buried in the annals of history, 3 levels deep in rot, silence, and something more sentient than stone, Match led her without hesitation. The first level reeked of damp wood and stagnant water. Rats the size of cats slithered into holes as they passed. Faint chanting seemed to echo from somewhere far below, though when she stopped to listen, it vanished. The second level was worse. The walls bled. Not metaphorically. Viscous liquid oozed from fractures in the stone, dark red and shimmering faintly in the glow of the enchanted torch Match now held. The glyphs along the walls pulsed, in rhythm with her breathing, or her heartbeat, or something else entirely. The third level was death. Literal and figurative. Skeletons lined the corridor. Some arranged respectfully in niches, others crumpled, mid-crawl, their mouths open, their fingernails torn, no sound, no insects, just bones. And then a door. It opened on its own. The room was carved from black rock. It pulsed faintly with reddish veins. Living stone, Anasa thought, too overwhelmed to be surprised. Ancient books lay scattered across low altars and crumbling shelves. The symbols weren't etched. They were scorched into the surface, as if the very act of writing them was violence. "This is where I learned what I am," Match said quietly. "And what they made me forget." He approached a pedestal at the center. Upon it lay a book bound in something pale and cracked. At first she thought it was vellum. Then she saw the pores. It didn't smell like dust or decay. It smelled like memory. Match opened it with reverence. The pages breathed, no other word for it. They curled outward, exposing lines of text that shimmered, changed, adapted as she looked. "You can read this?" she asked. "Not alone," he replied. "But you were always meant to. Why me?" He reached out and touched her chest, fingers splayed above her heart. His hand was cold, trembling, because you were the beginning of this, the first blood, the buried word. The moment his fingers made contact, the letters lifted from the page like smoke and coiled into her mind. They didn't translate. They spoke, whispers, screams, echoes, a battlefield, shrouded in twilight. Match in chains of bone, screaming as fire devoured his veins. A man with no face, only teeth, branding a symbol onto Match's chest. A woman in white, her, Anasa, impaling him through the heart with a blade made of starlight. Then, a kiss. Her hands trembled. Her knees buckled. She stumbled back. Match caught her. "You saw it," he said. "Not a question. I killed you," she whispered. "In another life," he said. "In the first life, when you were the blade, and I was the beast." "But why?" "Because they made you. They made both of us, over and over." Before she could ask more, the ground rumbled beneath them, and from the shadows they came. Figures materialized from the black, robes like funeral shrouds, masks with no mouth, no eyes, just smooth bone and symbols etched in crimson. The ardent circle. One stepped forward. Its voice crawled across the stone like insects. "You broke the seal, vampire. You summoned the key." Match moved between her and them. "You won't touch her." They didn't reply. They lunged. Time fractured. Screams. Flashing steel. Blood on her face. Match roared, shifting faster than sight, ripping through the first two figures. But they reformed. Smoke and ash and something darker. Anasa clutched the book. The pages pulsed. Her vision split. Past and present overlaid. She saw herself, white-robed, fire-eyed, screaming forbidden syllables into a crimson sky. The book erupted in light. The cave screamed, and she, Anasa, spoke a name, a true name. The circle reeled. One crumpled into salt, another burned from the inside. Power tore through her body, ancient and agonizing. She cried out, not in pain, but in recognition. She remembered everything. She raised her hand, and the last figure melted beneath the force of her gaze. When it was over, Match lay slumped against a wall, bloodied but breathing. The chamber was ash and ruin. You burned like the first dawn," he whispered. "You are the buried word." "I'm no savior," she said, her voice rough. "I'm the storm they buried, the knife they dulled. But now I'm awake." He looked at her, eyes filled with wonder and terror. She took his hand. "We end this, all of it." In the distance, beneath the earth, something stirred and smiled.